enhance our academic activities. And also, I will move to, in terms of policies and governance, we want the formation of the student parliament, wherein the students' voice in Sefako Makgatho students will be brought back, and we will be able to challenge these policies heads on. And in the second semester, we want that there must be policy review of all these policies that were approved without students being consulted and the SRC. And also we have a vision for Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. We want a varsity square on campus. We want a hospital on campus in order to enhance clinicals. And indeed we need proper sporting facilities. And in conclusion, I would like to say that as the SRC, we are for the student liberation, and we believe that as education is the key to success, resources and opportunities to enhance it must not be a privilege, but it must be a priority. And down with the inculpability of management, down with financial exclusion, and forward with the students' liberation and the voices of students of Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SG. I think management, you have denied SRC an opportunity to strike. You see, they even raised their voices. It started with the president. We are not allowing students freedom there. Please put the presentation of labor. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, students, for the passionate presentation of the issues. Hey guys, 13. There's somebody who has a mic on. Man. Switch it off for, yeah. President organizer rally I think good voice it's alone No, thank you very much, student leadership. You have represented your students very well. Labor, we have 15 minutes, so it's 1:30 at Korat.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, you can actually see that our title of the presentation in itself, we have written our title to be a failed university. That is after an extensive consultation with the workers whom we are here to represent. And we'll further in our presentation, Chair, maybe before we get to the presentation, indicate that I'm Dr. Chipiwa Mrauzi. I'm the chairperson of NEAU at SMU branch. With myself, the one who's rendering the slides there in terms of pressing next is Dr. Bele Abungile, who's NEAU branch secretary at SMU. Joined by my side is the chairperson of APSA, Chairman Mukwape, Kabelo Mukwape. Next to him, it's in fact Chairman Lekabe, who's the chairman of SAPTO. Chair, our overview, we looked into the entire university, when the university was in fact incepted, when we had to demerger from the University of Limpopo to who we are now as the Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. We reflected extensively on the report that was done by the joint technical team, which envisaged how the university should look like. We looked into the vision of that was envisaged then. We went on to reflect on the governance collapse. After that, Chair, we then looked into executive management and perhaps the interference of council or the collusion, however, Chair, of council together with our university management. We'll then also dive extensively on issues of project. We appreciate the fact that they presented on project. However, we want to give a detailed presentation in as far as how does that affect our employees at SMU. Workers at SMU are grieved by the privatization of employment within SMU. This is now being done through issues of outsourcing, Chair. Thank you. We'll then conclude and also present issues of recommendation. Chair, you have also presented in your preambles that the university started operating in 2015. It was aimed at being a specialized health sciences university. It had key targets in as far as issues of enrollment, in as far as issues of its infrastructure, and also issues of staffing. What we can present to yourselves, Chair, in the JTT report, there was an envisaged that by 2024, we'll already be enrolling around about 10,000 students. The project that would have underwent to complete would also be able to in-house both teaching, learning, and research together with residences within the university. We can equally indicate that when we present, we're also going to show yourselves how this management and council has failed to meet those targets. We're also now going to recommend in our recommendations the urgent interventions that are needed to avoid an institutional collapse at SMU. While we go to the next slide, Chair, we then indicate that we envisage to be an innovative university which is integrated and also offering socially accountable program. Our headcount was 7,000. It was envisaged to be 7,000 within 5 years. Chair, we need to indicate that we only met this target of 7,000 students this year. Before this year, we were registering less than 7,000 students. And that indicates to the failure of management together with council in achieving just this bare minimum target that was set when we envisaged that by 2019, we should already be registering 7,000 students. As we sit right now, our university is denying an extra of 3,000 students who are supposed to be enrolled within our health sciences and social programs that we are supposed to be offering. There were different schools that were also proposed that those schools must already be established and functioning. Those schools are some veterinary as well, should already be established. However, it's still a dream that we are invested to achieving because of the collapse of the management that we are having together with the council of the university. I think I just touched on the last part where we are talking about expansion of specialized schools, veterinary as well, Chair. As we proceed to the next slide. Chair, our collapse of governance, we have looked into the material that some of them we have submitted in a bundle when we make a submission to yourself last week, that council within our university, Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences, is in fact operating within or below the capacity that is actually required. The laws of the country, the statute as well prescribe that we should not be a maximum of 30. However, at campus, at our university, internal members who are supposed to be part and parcel of this committee are actually, in fact, not included in the committee. We've highlighted this issue to the then register, who's now the acting DVC, research and teaching. And since then, we are just told that there's going to be a revision that's still yet to come. Employees at the university are deprived of, in fact, expressing their voices at council because of issues that we're also going to raise in terms of the inconsistency of council at SMU. This inconsistency, Chair, continues to as far as issues of decision leaderships that are not transparent. We'll give you a typical example as to what then had happened in the appointment of the VC. We are aware, we have read that the VC has been congratulated, but we will be surprised that we are equally as organized labor, who is an important stakeholder at SMU, are just now finding out now that there's an appointment of a VC. We'll get to that in detail when we present, and that is what we mean when we say there's no transparency. Because we have since written to management, to council, in 2024, somewhere around March, on the inclusion of ourselves to be part and parcel of the recruitment processes in 2024. There's a serious breakdown of governance in as far as Sefako Makgatho Health Sciences University. In the opening remarks, it was mentioned that there are several letters that were received which are anonymous. We want to find out, can council itself, if council members are pointed out to be involved in activities that are not at the best interest of the university, continues to be part and parcel of a university council, and can they investigate themselves? We just want to know as organized labor, because we have asked those questions, we have still not received any answer in as far as that is concerned. Council of the university has continued to interfere significantly with projects within the university. In fact, in the bundle that we have submitted to yourselves, we've demonstrated that the former Vice-Chancellor, whose term ended on the 31st of May, midnight of Saturday, had fingered some of the issues that these people, in his report, he has fingered that the CFO and the Chair of Council were somehow at the behest of some of the council members, making sure that there's delays at the projects within the university, and there's still no accountability as far as that is concerned. We believe that this program should have been completed earlier, as we have presented as well in this report, when the project started and when the project were anticipated to start. Chair, I should indicate how this affects workers because of the following. In as far as the completion of 2,000 beds is concerned, I'll give you a typical example. If the university is able to receive residence fees from students, that becomes the income we're generating. When we're generating income, we then become a sustainable university. The impact of that is that workers at SMU are then going to be able to get salaries that are deserving. At this point, we should equally tell you that the disrespect of the management that is before ourselves, together with the council or enjoined with council, is that they are unable to prioritize anything of workers that workers are concerned. For example, our salary negotiations started on the 15th of March. We are expected to have salary increases on the 1st of April. Now tell me, in any other normal institution, can you negotiate salaries for 15 days? Management has went on over and above that to make discussion out of the bargaining arrangement that we have signed with them to decide that they're going to cut certain benefits because we don't have a current agreed agreement in as far as salary increases are concerned. Council approved the appointment of executive acting positions that do not meet minimum requirements. We've made an example when we made this consultation, the appointment of the acting registrar. The reason why we're saying that is as follows, Chair, that the minimum requirement of a registrar is that you should have a master's. When you look into the structure of the university, we're having 2 deputy vice-chancellors. We want to find out as organized labor if they are transparent enough to tell us how did they go and pick somebody else while they're already individuals who are senior enough, who are deputy vice registers. Chair, while we proceed with our presentations, the university has failed in its capacity, Chair, together with management or enabled by management, to hold accountable individuals who are fingered within the management together with the council to be put aside. Practice will dictate, in as far as labor is concerned, that you can't be investigated while you are on duty. However, in this case, the report that we are hearing that has been mentioned here, that council does not want to present or rather to offer to honorable members who are here, is that it was executed by management while the chair of council was the chair of council and the CFO was the CFO. We find it to be unfair, and we felt that they should have maybe put them on a precautionary notice, put them aside so that they're able to deal with that. Chair, in my opening remarks, I indicated that I will also zoom into how the VC was appointed, as we are hearing it for the first time here, was appointed without, Chair, was appointed without the involvement of organized labor. You will, Chair, understand if you read legal documents of the country as far as the Act and the policies. Section 16 of the Labor Relations Act of 1995, Chair, enjoined, in fact, and also dictate to employers that they cannot employ outside the consultation of organized labor. Now, while you are congratulating the VC, it becomes unfortunate that this very same section that I've read right now means that council itself, for not listening, for not responding, for not taking ourselves serious, has went on through the process of recruitment of a vice-chancellor without organized labor, and they've infringed that very same rule. It is for that reason why we're finding that the congratulation of the VC at the same time with yourself. So we've become a stakeholder that is actually, in fact, undermined, silenced, because the campus has been militarized. That is where we are in as far as issues of organized labor at SMU is concerned. In the sitting of the Vice-Chancellor Chair, as I indicated, we started writing to HRCC, in fact, Council, since last year in sometimes April, to say we need to be involved in these processes. We have even quoted the laws. We have quoted cases where employers were found wanting by not involving organized labor. To this end, we spoke to deaf ears because there's no any other response that came back to our favor, or did they in fact disregarded the law and the constitution of the country. Chair, on the 7th of March, we got a letter from the same management of the university to indicate that they've shortlisted 5 candidates. Those five candidates, amongst them, we found out that there was a candidate who was not without a PhD. The requirement indicates that a candidate must then have PhD. So we're asking ourselves, was there any sober decisions that were taken in this whole entire process up until where we are? As organized labor of SMU, in fact, we're convinced, Chair, and we should tell you, that we feel that the Chair of Council who's outgoing, who did not manage to make it here, Ms. Maria Ramauli, is then picking individuals who are either agreeing with her so that when her term comes to an end this June, she's still able to interfere and handle the processes of the university. And that is disheartening if you are sitting as labor, because we should somehow be accountable to one of our own. We should be accountable to SMU as a legal body. But at SMU, we feel that that is not the case. Sitting before ourselves, we feel that the acting DVC operation, the acting DVC research, teaching and learning are going to in fact follow suit. So it's an appointment of individuals that are knowing are putting each other so that the process that maybe were raised through this anonymous letter can continue. Others, in fact, are even lobbying for the VC, saying that they're going to be advisors to the VC. They're present amongst ourselves and they're members of council. Because while they were boosting on campus to say we are not going to be included in this process, they even went on to say, spam is pet. They even went on to tell us who is going to be what. And we are seeing it happening as you congratulated the VC today, because this was pronounced. It was future told. And we are seeing it happening today. But Chair, we want this whole entire process to be investigated because we have the feeling that deserving members who also qualified, who applied, might have been overlooked in order to protect an individual.
As you wrap up, the 15 minutes just finished, as you wrap up.
Chair, there's collapse in fact of executive management. We went on to indicate that everybody at executive management is acting. You have the chair, the VC was acting, recently appointed. When we did our presentation, the chair was acting. Chair, you equally have the DVC, the CFO, both DVCs. We're worried, Chair, as in when we present to ourselves that the campus has been militarized. In fact, we arrested ourselves as the chair of NEAU and the chair of APSA due to, we were at a legal strike. They have developed policies that don't agree with ourselves of the strike policy, which infringes the law of the country. Because it says we must strike outside the university. Outside the university is a hospital. So when you go outside the university, we're arrested for infringing the National Road Act. They even went on to persuade police to charge extra charges. My charge went on, I was at the strike, my hands were raised. I was even charged that I was disarming a police officer. Even when we went on to ask to be provided videos, because at the gate they have 16 cameras. Chair, we can tell you that management refuses to give us those. Chair, we went on to indicate that labor is excluded in as far as issues of appointment processes within the university. Issues of policies are now between council and only management. So they wake up tomorrow, decide to actually make a policy. Tomorrow we just wake up with a policy that is approved. Policies, Chair, in our views, are supposed to be policies that are nationalized within the university, where we all can discuss, engage, be able to criticize, commit, and send our comments to that, so that a policy that is informed can be taken. Chair, workers at SMU don't have PPE. At cleaning department, they last received PPE in 2022. The boots are, in fact, water is leaking inside their boots, and management has failed to do that. They're undercapacitated both at transport, at gardening, at security, at gardening, and everywhere else. Chair, we were equally told briefly that we should also present that there's an issue of Old Mutual Pension Fund, which belongs to the workers of the then Medunsa, who also transferred to the Sefako Makgatho University, that workers are saying they're frustrated, that they need to be paid that money. The money was paid to the university is failing to release that money to the university. Chair, while we are summarizing and concluding, we also presented, Chair, to yourself that The 2,000-bed construction, Chair, was meant to be completed in 2023. Now we are in fact in 2025, 2 years later, the 2,000-bed is not complete. The overspending of that project, Chair, it was meant to be at 500 million. Taxpayer deserves to know that the overspending at that project, Chair, alone, is in fact 40%, which is over 200 million. Now we want accountability in finding out that we can't even complete the 2,000 that is in question, but we are unable we are now saying we must go and celebrate the opening of 1,000. We want to know if we've already overspent by 40%. What is the entire project going to cost when we go to the other 1,000?
Thank you very much, Dr. Chipiwa. Really appreciate you have exceeded your 15 minutes by 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair.
We have a very tight schedule. Members, I'm coming to you. It's 12 minutes to 12. So the house starts at 3. So scheduled to finish at 1. We have a house sitting. So 1:10. So that should take 10 minutes each. It should be 100 minutes. 1 hour 40 minutes. It will be way beyond. It will be 20 to 2 when we finish with 10 minutes. So I'm going to note your hands. Maseko will be number 1. Ngubane will be number 2. Low will be number 3. Khakha will be number 4. Crocodile will be, Shukwambana will be number 5. Desiree will be number 6. Msazane 7. Souls will be number 8. Khabo will be number 9 and I'll be number 10. 10 minutes in that order. Members, invitees, when a member asks you a question, assume that they've got context, assume that they've got an answer, just answer them. Let's not try and fly to Harangu and back because they're going to stop you and tell you they don't have enough time. So let's just take that. I don't want to be coming in because there's an order on this and that. Mama Seko.
Thank you very much, Chair, and again, thank you for the presentations. But before, Chair, you can start with my time, I just need to request...
You don't have time.
Okay. I'll use my time for the benefit of the members because the engagement, this is the same scenario like the CUT that we are not going to do justice in asking the questions and finish today. So we will have to continue with the engagement and we'll Chair, through you, to look at the times where we can go and engage. We've got the stakeholders, they're talking parallel to each other. They disagree with everything. And the fortunate part is that I come from that side. I know what the students and the unions are saying is the reality. And fortunately enough, one of your professors that have retired is my mom. So I know what is happening also in there. So the stories that we are hearing here from the management is totally different from what I used to hear all the time. So let's, Chair, I would request that we continue, but I'm going to ask my questions now. Starting with the issue of the suitability of appointments of candidates for executive positions. If maybe I can get that clarity, what does it mean? Unpack it for me. When you say the suitability, it's one of the issues. We are going to interact, so answer me. Who's going to take it? Okay.
You must press the mic.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Suitability of candidates to be appointed at executive levels is guided by qualification. It is guided by the criteria that is set for that specific role. So for the VC role, you've got a non-negotiable criteria, like we had a PhD as a criteria for the VC. So that is guided by that, and also the portfolio itself, what it entails.
So, thank you very much. I'm stingy with the time. So if we engage again and then we request the qualification of the people that you have appointed and versus the suitability, as you mentioned it, we are going to get it that way. Okay, so we are going to do that. It's one of the things when we continue to engage that we will request that. The other question that I want to find out, you said that you are done with the library. The union is saying that it's not done. The SRC also is saying it's not done. What is the real story behind the library of the university?
Almost 98% complete. We are definite that on the 13th of June, the library will be commissioned, will be handed over, and will be in use from that day onwards.
Okay. I know English is not my first language. Presentation in the library. And then, I know halal feds.
I can't.
Okay. Your presentation, you said you are done with the library. It's done. You didn't say 80%. So why is 80% changing to you? When you were initially you were saying you are done with the library, but now it's 80%. What is the reason for you to tell us that?
Okay, I didn't say 80%. I said 98%. Like you probably know, with most buildings, when you complete them, you literally complete them. You move them in, and there may be still one or two things that you may find that you still need to repair in that building. So that's why I'm using 98% instead of using 100%, because once people move in and use it, they may say this is not working or this is, and then you still have to fix that. It happens with every buildings that you do.
Okay,
you would
thank
always
you.
have those snags.
Thank you very much. The union rep, if you can help us out here, is the library 98%?
Sure, the library is not complete. It's not inhabitable, it does not have a book, does not have anything. In fact, we should indicate that last week on Friday, we had undertook to actually walk there. It's not complete.
VC, what is 98%?
Well, 98% for me, it means that there are still some snags. For example, as far as I know, the books are being moved into the library so that by the 13th it is finished. But the actual renovation itself is complete.
See, that's what I meant, that we are hearing the total different. The books are in there, the books are not there, and we are not there to can see what is happening in there. Students, are there books in the library?
No, on our last visit, there is no books. They were just cleaning and trying to finish some things, but there is no any equipment.
Okay, thank you very much. From all the presentation you told us, what is right and what is not happening, because now it seems like we are going to ask the question, we'll find that you are lying to us with some information. So from the presentation, you said it's perfect with the bill, with the accommodation, perfect with the library, but we are hearing the total different story. So take us into confidence. What is it that we can ask you the question that it's really happening, like you are saying, it's not going to be parallel to what the union and the students are saying?
Okay, what is not parallel to what the students and us are saying is that the library is complete, the library was to be renovated. In that renovation, you had to move your books from there, you had to move your furniture there. It is for this reason, whilst I'm saying to you, the library...
I'm not talking about the library.
Can I just finish then, please?
No, don't.
I'm
it's
talking
my
about the
time.
library.
Can I have my time?
Okay.
Yeah. You answered me.
Okay.
So I'm saying from the whole presentation, I'm done with the library. From the whole presentation, what information is correct that you can say to me, this one I can ask you the questions, is the true version of what's happening?
To my knowledge, the information that I've given you, it is true, and that is why I've presented it as such.
Okay. CFO, on the issue of the accommodation, the project started with year and it was supposed to be finished by when?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I'll take a bit of time there.
I'm sorry, don't take time.
Okay.
Tell me the project. You had to start this time and finish
The project
this time.
was handed over to the contractor in 2013, August 2013, and it was supposed to be completed by August 2021. It was supposed to be completed by August 2023, which was a 24 months construction of the project. However, there were a number of challenges that were then encountered during the construction project. I don't know if I should go through there, but it was supposed originally to have been completed by August 2023.
Okay, thank you very much. And the cost to the project, was there an increase in amount from the project itself implementation to how much difference was there that you had to increase for the project?
Chairperson, the contractor's cost increased by 49 million. The reason for that was, of course, extension of time and other things that happened. For example, there was a rock that was found underneath that had not been picked up by geotech survey. So there was an extension of scope and the delays, so extension of time that cost the university 49 million due to the contractor. Over and above that, I should indicate there were other cost drivers. When the scoping was done, there was an estimation that the ICT and security installations would cost the university 18 million, which was a significant understatement of the costs. It came out that the installation of security installations would cost around more than 20 million, and installation of ICT by itself would cost also more than 20 million.
Okay, thank you very much. I tend to believe all that were included in the initial project itself.
No, the second leg that I'm speaking to were not included in the so there was underscoping in the project. Those costs were underestimated. So as a result, there were expansions in that criteria, Chair.
Okay.
And that's what led the cost from the initial about 500 something million to more than 600 million that we are referring to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And who was responsible for the construction within the university?
There have been a number of executive directors responsible for
Mention all
operations.
of them from the first until the last one.
When the project started, there was one called Dr. Muleki, who was responsible. After that, there was, but the handover happened during the time of Mr. Mtebele, who was the executive director responsible for infrastructure and operations. Then after his tenure came Mr. Fanas Banyoni, whose contract also, who left the university. After his tenure, I think I presented, Chair, that there's been quite a high turnover. There was the time of Professor Patrick Dimana, who acted in that position as the acting COO. And I should indicate that during that time, Chairperson, that was the period of 2023 and 2024, the project had been moved. And it was only that I have taken over now that the project has moved and nearing completion. Thank you.
Okay. Sure, I'm sorry, just to finish on this question. When I started, I asked about the suitability of appointments of candidates in their responsibilities. So you mentioned how many people?
During the construction phase, there was Mr. Mtebele.
Just give me number. 4.
There were 4. There were 3. I'm the 4th.
Okay, you are the 4th.
Yeah.
Were you all suitable for the construction?
Can I proceed, Chair? The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Operations, or COO as it was called then, is an executive member. In my understanding, they are all qualified to be executives in those positions. They met all the minimum requirements, including myself. I meet the minimum requirements for that position. Or as much as by profession, I'm a chartered accountant.
I'm sorry, I mean for the construction responsibility that has cost extra 49 million. The suitability of all of you, including you, for the construction. Do you have that? Because it's in your policy that you give responsibility based on the suitability.
The person who is responsible for that, overseeing that, is the Director of Built Environment. And I can indicate that, to my recollection, all the people that were appointed in those positions were suitable for that job.
Okay, thank you. Like I said earlier when we started, we will not have enough time with Sefako Makgatho. That's why I indicated when the meeting started that we'll come back for them. CFO, the question she was asking, you did not answer. Let me tell you why. The answer you should have done, because the university had appointed project managers on behalf of the university to oversee. And the ones that you appointed was Royal as colleagues, that you had appointed for this particular project. So the question she's asking, we are overpaying by 49 million. Who is responsible? You pay because the people you have given the responsibility to your project management, project managers. So the answer you should have given to her is that don't give us the DVC operations. What are they signing? They're not signing. In fact, you as a CFO, you don't sign because DVC operation said sign here. So your answer is not right, and I don't want to assume that it's deliberate, because if it is, it's going to give us problems. The answer that you should have given to her is that we had project managers, here they are. We had these problems, here they are. And you are, towards the end, and I'm going to give you Mbombu now. You are saying all the people who have given these responsibilities are suitable. And I will go to, when I come, you don't have to answer, I'm going to give Honorable Zubani. When I come, I'm just preparing you. That there's the person who's, I don't know whether they're acting or not in the built environment. I want you to tell me if they're engineers. You said everybody you put there, they are suitable. So I would want you to really think about, before you answer the next set of questions, because don't assume we don't have this information. I told you we have. Assume I showed you the file that I have. I'm just on page 1, rectifying what we are doing there. Honorable Ngubane.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think it's clear again, Chair, that we're having an executive that is not in touch with the reality of what's happening on the institution that they are running. If they are in touch, then it's clear they are running the institution at the pilot on paper at a high level, but they are not into grips with the real issues that are happening at the labor level and at the student level. That's why you see a big disjuncture, one claiming to say, no, library is complete. It's complete, 98%, and other one says there are no books. It's because the other one, Chair, received the report, a paper, that had pictures of library with books and everything, and they were signed off, Chair. And then he saw the paper, the report, and it says, hey, this library is completed, we've paid so much million. And when he read this thing at night, he said, we're delivering. It was signed off, and he signed. He said, boom, we have a library. That's how they run this institution. They're at the pilot level, and they have no clue what is happening at the workers level, and they have no clue what is happening at the students level. Hence, you're here, Chair, the student saying there is a resident that is equal to Marabastad. But if you ask the VC and the principal, they will say no, there is a state-of-the-art accommodation there, 4-star, if they can tell you. And again, they will do the same thing, they will sign off the pictures. These are problems, and these problems, you find them in these universities, and even you find them at the DHET as well. We mustn't exclude them. because the D-head as well received this same report that are given to this executive. And even the D-head as well, they think that universities are being run smoothly and everything is correct. Because they are busy with papers and they are not on the ground on inspection. Even if they are not on the ground, they don't have tools. You don't need to be on the ground. You need to have tools in place to make sure that what you are given is correct and it's able to checks and balances. So they don't have that, Chair. They're just running at the pilot level. On first presentation, you said that your whistleblowers is being handled correctly, and you said it's being handled by the internal audit. What I would like to ask is that why is it being handled by the internal audit? Is it good practice according to the universities or the standard that the whistleblowing must still be handled by your internal audit? Do you believe that your internal audit is independent enough to handle the whistleblowing correctly and those whistleblowing be independent? Because I tell you why. The other universities, they take the whistleblowing process and they make an independent company handle them. Because everybody inside, even your internal audit, reports to you, they get paid to you, they are inside the institution. So do you think that's the right practice that you are doing? Have you benchmarked that management of the whistleblowing that you are saying with the other university or other institution that you are doing the correct thing? Because it's clear that why you're missing all these things that you are missing, your internal audit is not is your really internal audit, is yours.
You will start afresh. Yes.
Okay, our whistleblower and the hotline is managed by an independent company completely. What I was talking about today, I was talking about the anonymous letters that we received. Those anonymous letters then were then handled by the internal audit and the audit and risk committee of council. And for the reasons, there are many reasons for that. One, there were a number of people in management that were also mentioned today. There were also some people that were mentioned in council, and hence because the ARC chair is also an independent person, an external independent person, that's the person who then handles that. Not handling the report itself, but say, for example, what do we do? Who do we appoint? Those kind of things, not necessarily the actual investigation, if I'm clear.
Okay, so the report is being handled by a company outside.
The report is being handled by a company. So there are two processes I'm talking about here. We have a hotline, a whistleblowing policy, and a hotline that people can phone, and that is handled by an independent company. Then we got anonymous letters that we needed to deal with it because they didn't come through that process of the hotline and whistleblowing. So that is when then the ARC is then responsible for that, for appointing the investigators and others.
Okay, so when the first independent whistleblowing report comes or any,
No.
it comes straight to you or to the internal audit?
No. If you and I go to SMU hotline and we make a phone call, we report that person X is doing this, that is handled by a total different company. Remember, an anonymous letter does not come to that hotline. It was sent to the portfolio committee, it was sent to the minister, it was sent to the media. So that's a totally different line of reporting, which then got handled differently.
It's clear, I get you. I'm asking again. When whoever, here's me, I whistleblow about SMU, and then they receive the report.
Okay.
Who receives it first at the university?
Because that hotline is not meant by the university, is meant by the independent company, they receive that.
And where does it go once they've received it? Now there is this whistleblowing or complaint.
Okay.
Where does it go after
All right.
that?
Maybe you're bringing up another question here as well. Remember, when you do a whistleblowing and I say you have done something X about you, and I call this line, it doesn't come to the university. It goes to this independent company that deals with it. They may ask me certain things. There is a process in our policy how that works. They may ask me certain things. For example, I can't just be saying you have done this, and that is enough for everybody to just saying that we must have an investigation about this. So they would ask you, do you have any evidence of this? If it's worth for them to go on and pay, investigators and all of that, they handle all of that process. We get the reports only as a university. we
Okay.
don't get involved in that process.
All right, it's fine. And then the other things that are coming out as well is the issue of NSFAS as well. It looked like the integration and collaboration with the NSFAS. Is your institution have that seamlessly being handled correctly? Because we know these issues that they've raised, Chair. Some of them you find that we've received them at NSFAS, the defunding of students in the middle of the year. But as an institution, how do we handle that? Because somehow, as I said, if you don't have, because stakeholder engagement, management in the institution as well, is at the lowest level. Hence, you'll find that they complain to you about the defunding of the student, whereas some of the issues is the issue of an NSFAS. Then how is the university handling that communication, NSFAS and student and university seamlessly?
I will ask the former CFO to ask to add as well. But I must just say that we are having a meeting with the NSFAS. But I think what we are talking about, what the students are talking about, is what happens between, because your financial year runs from the 1st of April to the 1st of March. Our year runs from January, say the 6th to December. So what then happens, the students come in. This is something that we might have to, as we are going to meet the CEO of NSFAS, we may have to discuss. Then what happens is that NSFAS, when they give us the money, or all universities for that matter, they give it on their own financial year. This happens as well with our subsidy. We have to wait for the subsidy before we get it because there's a difference in our financial years. However, I think SMU has, that's why I showed that data to you to say where our students come from. I know that we have, when it's possible for us to be able to support students. Of course, I can't give them the entire amount that they were going to get from NSFAS, but we've been able to support them to say, okay, for these 3 months.
But the communication between the university and the student, where is it handled correctly? How is it being handled?
We normally meet with the SRC, we meet with them quarterly to be able to discuss, but usually at the beginning of the year, I think they can also confirm our meetings can almost be like almost weekly, because as the year begins, there's a lot of issues that are taking place. For example, the NSFAS, some students that can't afford. So during that period, our meetings are much more than our normal meetings that we normally have them quarterly. Yeah, so we do communicate.
Oh, okay, all right. And then one of the things, Chair, that they presented, which is not a true reflection, again, I'm going to provide you with facts, Chair. The foreign employment in this institution is not a true reflection. They've just lowered down all the executive. They didn't reflect the real employment of their executive of foreigners. And somehow it was cleaned out, but I'm going to give you that there is an element of executive foreigner employment in this university, but they didn't reflect it on their presentation. And then the SRC, the student, they presented, you presented that we must do away with these things of unemploying all the medical workers. What I would like that to come out clear, are you talking about employing of all those health workers in the university or generally in the country?
Sorry, if you can repeat that.
You said, you mentioned all the health workers fields that people need to get employed, that they are not employed. Were you specifically mentioning them that they need to be employed at the university or in the country after their graduation, the product of the university?
Yes, no, this is inclusive of everyone. Yes,
oh, okay.
Because we have a problem as healthcare professionals.
Right.
The prospective and the ones who are currently working.
Okay. Chair, I think it's the problem of yesterday. The issue is affecting us in South Africa, but because we're not handling it correctly as a country, it's going to affect our producing of our health workers. They're going to produce these health workers, they're not going to be employed because we have this fascination in this country of employing foreigners more than our people. So that's where you see now the clogging.
Yeah.
I think the other question, the Chair, of my time was a little, I'll then submit them to you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Law. Please switch off.
No, thank you very much, Chair. CFO, I saw when we were busy with critical things of students, I can tell you now students do not have water and some parts of the campuses and expected to attend classes. 2, I'm told, and I can tell you that 4% of increase on transportation of students is quite concerning because the majority of the students are the motive forces. They are benefiting from NSFAS. And I want to ask you a personal question. Are you corrupt?
I'm not, Chair.
Okay. I want to ask you a question now. Can you provide an explanation regarding the allegations of receiving kickbacks from contractors, specifically in relation to payment stalling? Are you stalling payments?
Chair, through you, we have never, to my knowledge, we have never installed any payments. In fact, we run a payment run every Thursday, and any invoices that are due on that day, they are paid. Our payment regime is such that we make payments on a weekly basis, and we have got no exception where the invoices have been received.
VC, are you aware of the allegations of corruption of the Chair of Council and the CFO? Can you press the mic, please, and come forward?
I'm aware of the anonymous letter that mentioned, that talked of the allegations.
What did you do about it as you entered?
Well, that investigation is within the council. It is within, the council is doing with it. And
But you said to us that you said to us that everything is fine. No, wait.
You asked me what have I done?
Ma'am, wait. I'm going to assist you. You said to us that everything is fine. You never raised this issue of allegations of corruptions when you're making presentations. Hence, I'm asking to you, what did you do immediately? The first thing you're supposed to do was to come and tell us about those allegations and what you're going to do with them. You said to us everything is fine, isn't it? When you presented, you said to us everything is fine. Am I lying?
I did not say to you everything is fine. I said to you, whilst we may be having challenges and other issues, but there are good things that we are doing. That's what my presentation was about.
When you come here in high-level parliament, you come and make reflections on key issues of allegations that affect the students and affects your university. Are you aware of that? You must reflect on them. Deputy Chair, you are the Deputy Chair of Council, ma'am.
Yes.
We are aware of your allegations of the Chairperson of Council, and what did you do about them?
Yes, we are aware of the allegations that have been laid out through the CFO and the Chair of Council through anonymous letters that we have received, which were tabled in Council. We have appointed an investigator, and the investigation team is almost complete with their report. It's going to be tabled on the 10th, and thereafter we will then inform this committee in terms of the Council decision
So
on the report.
During the investigation, what did you do to the Chair? Was the Chair proceeding with the work, or what was happening?
Yes, the Chair was proceeding with the work because remember, you can't just act on the allegations without having proved them, at least having some investigation done. Because the anonymous person, you see the difficulty with the anonymous report is that the anonymous person doesn't come forward to actually give you more information of what is in the letter. Hence, we had to appoint an investigator then. So once then we receive the report of the investigator, that's when we are going to act.
How will you prohibit that they don't interfere because they have been alleged that they're interfering? What measures have you put in place?
Come again, sorry.
How will you make sure that they don't interfere in investigations? And now, what measures have you put in place to mitigate the fact that these are the allegations that are very serious, dealing with finances of the institution, team up with the CFO, and these are the issues that day and day they are stealing payments, and students don't have water, students don't have access to the university. And I can tell you today, even the library, there are no shelves. The library has been half painted and it's not yet complete. I wanted to understand, how are you making sure that these allegations are going to make sure that there's no interference in between the two CFO and the Chair of Council?
The allegations, Honourable Member, are being done by an independent person. And on those allegations, currently, we are sure that the university is running properly until we get that report. Our hands are tied. Until we get that report, then we'll act.
What mitigating factors do you ensure us that they will not interfere in the process of that, on top of the allegations? There are a list of serious financial corruptions. There are a list of meeting projects by contractors. And students don't have water. The library is not yet done for most 3 years, 4 years. I want to pose a question to the CFO. I want to get a surety that indeed as a council we are independent, because I can see there's a serious jolly relationship. And this is very wholly in between management and council. That's why you can't play your oversight role.
No, that's not correct, Honorable Member. That's not correct. We do not interfere in the operations of management. We just had to interfere when there were delays in the projects. Hence, today, we have been able to fast-track the projects, and we are having 1,000 beds opened on the 13th of June.
Okay, on top of that, why didn't you involve Labour in the appointment of the VC?
Unfortunately, that one is guided by policies of the university. It has been communicated to management through the Secretary of Council, which is the registrar, that unfortunately the policies didn't allow. It's not that we cannot review the policies, but unfortunately we cannot do anything outside the policy because again we'll come to this committee and be blamed. So there's a process that is now started by the chairperson of Secretary of Council to say, let's look at the policies, benchmark with other universities, see what they are doing, and review our policies.
As a conscious citizen of South Africa, appointed to spearhead council, do you think it's important to exclude such an important stakeholder called the labor unions, who are workers, who are an integral part of the institution, in a critical part of appointing a VC? Do you think it's fair for you to say that it's because they're an integral part of this institution? In any country, who are expected labor to take part of the decision in terms of a management decision, and you as council, you preside over to do what? To make sure that there's there's unity in between the two, and they can work together so they're able to take the university forward. Do you think it's fair if labor is not involved?
Honorable Chair, I'm not going to say it's fair or unfair. All I'm going to say is that we are reviewing our policies to accommodate that.
Okay, can I ask you again, before the VC was appointed, what was her position in the institution?
She was a DVC, academic and research.
Okay. Is it true that for the past 3 years, she hasn't been went to the institution? How true is it?
Come again?
Is it true that for the past 3 years, she hasn't been doing duties as a DVC, albeit that she was appointed as a VC? How true is it?
Well, I'm not aware she has not been doing her duties.
Okay, we'll furnish you with proof. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let's get to you, CFO. What is the name of the company that constructed the 200 beds?
The 2,000 beds.
The 2,000 beds, yes.
They firstly appointed is called CCB. They went into financial difficulties.
I just wanted to know the company. What was the view of the DBSA on the procurement process?
The DBSA raised concerns around, for example, the advert not having been registered with CIDB. That was not a requirement by our policy or in other regulations at the time. We appointed senior counsel to look at the procurement process where it was cleared. And we initially appointed as a university, we jointly appointed senior counsel, ourselves, SNU and DBSA, the senior counsel that we jointly appointed cleared the process, and they then subsequently agreed to funding the project.
What was the amount of the initial project?
The initial project was supposed to be 533 million from a construction point of view. That 533 million was then reduced to 498 million because after consulting with the Department of Education and Training at the time, we realized that the room sizes were bigger than the minimum norms of the DHEAD. So we reduced the size. Then the contractor was also forced to reduce the amount to 498 million from 533.
If the amount went up or it went down?
Initially it went down because of the appointment and the sizes of the rooms, but subsequent, during construction, like I indicated, the rocks that were found caused the escalation of 49 million from the contractor only, but I haven't gone to other escalations. When the contractor's costs go up, the principal agent that Real Asconi has been referred to, who was responsible for the project management.
How much did it go up or down? Your initial appointment was 600 million. It ballooned to 700 million. The Clear Choice Builders that was appointed, am I lying?
No, that may not be accurate through you, Chair. The initial appointment of PHOs was 533 million. We can provide evidence to that effect.
Thank you.
Their final appointment
can you
was
provide evidence?
498 million.
Can you provide evidence? My last question, Chair, before I go down. Can you tell me about Sunset Africa Coach Lines? What is the initial budget of that tender? And why, if you've got that amount, why are the students paying 4% increasingly, or else they are from the poor background and they are multi-forces?
Thank you, Chair. It is an inaccurate assessment, Chair. I should indicate, I'm afraid. CCB, when they were the Sunset Africa, the bus provider, when they were appointed, the budget per annum is between 33 million and 40 million per annum. And in the last 2 years, their rates have not gone up. They have been kept stagnant. What is transpired through each year, which is the correct position, is that the university 2 years ago was subsidizing students to the tune, initially, in fact 3 years ago, was subsidizing the transport fees. And then we
have you appointed them for 100 million? Have you appointed them for 100 million, yes or no?
If you look at it over a 3-year period, Chairperson, I said the appointment was for 33 million. Cumulatively, it becomes
yes, you must know you are the CFO. Is it 100 million? If the outer years
over a period of 3 years.
Yes, I agree. We got the first year and the outer, which is 3. Is it 100 million? I want you to confirm.
That's correct, Chair.
All right. The last one. Why are you excluding more students when you are chairing a committee or that committee that you have formed? Because it is putting more pressure and stress to students. Thank you. Chairperson,
factually, it's only 12 students that were excluded in our student data pools committee. Only 12 out of 154 that were considered. The reason for that is mainly they were academically not progressing, and some of them were foreign students who, by law, should not have debt owing to the university.
Thank you, Chair.
No. There was a question asked there which I just need clarity, Deputy Chair. You are saying what is the report that is coming on the 10th? What is that report?
It's the investigation report, Chair, on the anonymous letters that were received by your office in July, just forgot the date, and in September.
Who was doing the report?
The investigators that were appointed.
Yes.
It's Sekati Incorporated.
What?
Sekati.
Yeah. Okay. And what is the terms of reference there?
Honorable Chair, yeah, it's quite a long document.
You'll give it to us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I?
Honorable Makgatho. Yeah, we are at number 4 now. Yeah.
Chairperson, Vice Chancellor, I want us to engage on your GBV stats. The presentation you gave us gives a clear tabulation of the resolution versus the referral to SEPs. I just need you to quickly, in 2 minutes, give me a breakdown on why all of them weren't all referred to SEPs, what differentiates